Hello everybody and welcome to the What's On podcast. This is episode 13. My name is Zachary.
My name is Ryan.
And today we are going to be talking about the game Horizon Zero Dawn. So this was a game we both played, enjoyed and wanted to talk about really because it brings in really interesting aspects to do with machinery, AI, apocalyptic scenarios. And it was just a really interesting game that we wanted to talk about. So that's going to be the main point, but as normal, start off with some news. Biggest thing at the moment's been, or biggest thing that's happened in recent is the Oscars. They went down, so to speak. So one that we predicted, that's I think there was very minimal surprise about.
I think everyone knew that it was going to happen.
Was Joaquin Phoenix winning the Oscar for Best Actor for Joker?
Yep.
I don't think there was much surprise out there.
No, there was no way that anyone could have gone against him for that, really.
Yeah, I think performance speaks for itself. No one was surprised. I don't think we have to go any further with it, really. We've got a whole podcast dedicated to saying how good Joker was.
Yeah.
Although one thing that I was surprised about was, which I've not seen it yet, so I can't really argue, but it looks good, it was Jojo Rabbit's beating Joker for adapted screenplay. Which
it's another one that I haven't seen either yet, so
I've heard good things, and obviously it's good enough to
get
win
to
it.
the Oscars and stuff.
And Jojo Rabbit's the black comedy by Taiki Waititi about Nazi Germany, or set in Nazi Germany. Yeah. It looks good. I can believe it from what I've heard.
Well, that's it. I mean, I've also seen that. She didn't win it, but Scarlett Johansson was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
So
there was plenty of good stuff for it going. So one thing I was surprised about was Brad Pitt won Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep.
I was very surprised to know that was his first acting Oscar.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? I thought he would have had one before.
No, he's had an Oscar as part of Best Picture, I think.
Okay.
For 12 Years a Slave, I think it was.
Yeah.
But this is his first time he's won a personal acting Oscar.
Oh, right.
Which was...
All the limelight really was on Leonardo DiCaprio never getting one.
I think if he hadn't won that associated one,
yeah.
I think it would have been equal measure. But I think I am, like you say, I'm surprised he hasn't had the same thing as DiCaprio did. 1917, I think, as equally unsurprising as winning Best Actor, was 1917 winning cinematography.
Yep.
It was almost guaranteed.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
It would have been stupid, I would say that. It would have been not to give that cinematography. As well as it also winning visual effects.
Oh, we got that one, yeah.
Which... It's good. It's also... It'd be interesting to find out how they judge it because it was against stuff like Avengers Endgame and Star Wars, stuff that has very big, flashy effects and such whilst obviously the effects in 1917 is a lot more realistic, like the plane scene when it crashes and all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting how they judge visual effects.
Maybe they do look into the realism of it in a way. I mean, because the visual effects when it comes to 1917 is very, very realistic. It properly puts you in that space, doesn't it? So that's obviously got to play a factor in it. Is in you are next to them in the trenches, feeling every artillery shell hitting, stuff like that. But it also won sound mixing.
Yes, it did. Did you have a gander at the difference?
No,
no. Because that was a big thing on Twitter. Was everyone confused about the difference between sound mixing and sound editing, one of which was myself, because I don't think...
what?
And a very loopy way of saying it, because I'm just remembering and from what I wrote down about it, was sound editing is where the sound team on a film creates the sounds that are going to be used in the film. So a lightsaber sound might be a car screeching, or it might be an air conditioning unit doing some sort of noise. It's creating those sounds which they then use in the film. That's sound editing. And sound mixing is when they edit those sounds for context. So if they create a noise for a bird call in sound editing, the sound mixing would then be making that sound like it's 20 a mile away.
Okay.
Or the reverb or the putting undertones in it to make it a tense situation, make the scene sound tense. So it's like sound mixing is the editing actually of the sounds, and the sound editing is the creation of the sounds, which seems a bit backwards.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
But that's obviously read up yourself, because I'm only like plagiarising this Twitter thing that I read up on, but
making it a bit more confusing than before you even looked.
Yeah. So, but it seems like they say it's a thing that comes up every year at the Oscars.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
What the hell is the difference?
And of course, the big one, which I wasn't surprised about. Again, I've said it a few times. I've not seen it, but I've heard it about the Parasite winning Best Picture. Not surprising to me, from what I've heard and not seen it still. But it did come as a bit of a shock to everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Because it won international film, original screenplay, and Best Picture,
and Best Director.
And Best Director, yeah. So a very big happening, a big occasion for international filmmaking there.
Well, that's it. I think this is like the first time that a non-English speaking English language film has actually won Best Picture. So they've done well.
Oh, definitely.
And it'll definitely do well for Korean cinema.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think international in general as well. It's going to be saying that these films can win these awards, can be nominated for these awards. I'm not sure if it's the first non-English film that's been nominated for Best Picture as well. I'm not sure about that, but it's definitely the first time it's won that category. Did you have anything else for the Oscars?
Not really. I mean, obviously we're saying about the actress and supporting actress. I mean, you've got Renée Zellweger.
Zellweger or something? Yeah. Apologies
for Best Actress, and that was for
Judy,
yes, which I haven't seen.
Yep.
And supporting actress was Laura Dern.
What did she win? What was that for?
That was for...
Was that Ford v Ferrari thing? No?
I cannot remember what it was for now. I literally looked at it before, and now I can't remember.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
But what was her name?
Her name was Laura Dern.
And she won?
Best Supporting Actress.
Okay. So she won that. Well, unfortunately, I can't remember his name. And I know Ford v Ferrari won a couple of things, but I've not checked the film out.
I don't think it was that one.
No. I think it was production, design, and something else. Anything else? So more general film stuff was Birds of Prey and the extremely long title that follows it. That has come out and it's doing positively in the reviews, but it's really doing badly in the box office. In the first day, it made $30 million against an estimate, a conservative figure that they had of $34 million. So that's led to them, in various cinemas, changing the name, its presented name, to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey. Yeah. Because it's put at the forefront.
Because they put the name at the end.
After a huge, I took the mix. I took the mix there, but it's something like, and the emancipation something of Harley Quinn. Yeah. So they've just gone name at the forefront, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, which I think they should have done that in the first place. But it seems to have had positive reviews from what I've seen. Doctor Strange 2, we talked about this last week or the week before, I think, was the writers left, the previous writer, but one of the writers has said there's been no script written yet, no first draft written yet. Oh. So I think it's going to be a while until we see that sequel. Yeah. And sticking with Doctor Strange was talk about the idea of concept art that gets released with the films. So concept art is the stuff they draw to see what it would be like in a film, ideas. It is. I think if you just break down the phrase, you know what it is, concept art. But there was a concept art of Doctor Strange in Iron Man in the Iron Man suit for Endgame, or Infinity War, one of the two. So I think it's interesting, the idea of ideas that are in films that come out that we never see, like these massive odd ideas like Doctor Strange in 9-man outfit suit, what they must be like behind the scenes.
Well, that's it. I mean, like they'll go through different ideas until they pick the one that sticks. I mean, like I remember some of that, like that reminds me of when I played the first Mirror's Edge game.
Okay.
When you go through it, you can unlock concept art from when they were making the actual game and what they wanted thingy to look like. I can't remember the character's name. Yeah. How the character looked like, what it was like, what the actual city looked like. Yeah. There was even concept art of a level in a prison that was never used.
Games is a very interesting one with that because they're obviously they build everything through programming, but they have like unlimited potential freedom in creating that, haven't they?
Because I was remembering like there was some part of the concept art where and obviously it's got a description underneath it of what it was like, and they were saying like this was like the nearly final concept art of Faith, that was the name, in the character's name, and it was saying this was before the decision was made to not have Faith with a gun because she actually had a weapon with her.
Okay.
But obviously in the game she doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't have weapons at all. You just have to pick them up. But this was when like they actually had one. Yeah.
It's interesting, that idea. And it'd be nice to see some films, what other paths they could have taken. Do you have anything else for films?
Nothing for films, no.
Okay. I'll just put a couple of TV stuff on the back end of Parasite. Apparently HBO are thinking about doing a series around the topic.
Okay.
Which is... It's one of those things, it's like taking off a film's hype.
Yeah.
It's like, it could be good, could be bad. I don't know, it's one of those things.
Trying to cash in though, isn't it?
Yeah. With Mark Ruffalo potentially starring in that. I mean, it's definitely got an interesting topic because it's about like the hierarchy in South Korea and like the social classes. So I think it would be an interesting TV show as well. Star Wars Clone Wars, which is an animated TV show, and it was very popular ages ago.
Yeah, it was about 10 years plus.
So that is coming, I think, if you say like a decade ago, and I think the final season of that is coming back, and that starts 21st of February, and I think that's going to be the last like little jigsaw piece between the Clone Wars and the Revenge of the Sith films. So I know a lot of people are excited for that. HBO Max, which is the new streaming service by HBO, they are apparently putting together a Friends reunion episode to kick their service off, which I'm sure a lot of people will be excited for or not excited for, depending on if they just want it left alone, because I think Friends finished 2002 or 2004.
It was a while ago.
So... Again, one of those things, it's like, do you want it back? But I know this is going to obviously get a lot of people coming to their service. So it's not confirmed yet, I don't think, but could be potentially interesting. And the last thing I wanted to have for TV was the idea about actors or actresses getting hate for their characters, because there's many examples of it, tons of examples, and I could bring up any number of them. The one that I just brought it to mind was a character in I brought up Arrow a few times over the last few weeks, but spoilers alert, because I don't think you want to watch it, are you?
No.
But during the final season of this Arrow, a character in it, the main character Arrow, is Green Arrow, dies in it, and an actor in it has been getting a lot of hate for at least part causing the death. Yeah. And it's just the idea of it's that judgment of if you can call them fans, because obviously our fans are just a bit excessively passionate.
Oh yeah.
But the idea that people get hate for these fictional characters doing actions which are written by writers and producers, and
they are literally just there to portray a character that has been written by someone else. So
all the hate should at least be going to the writer.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's an odd thing, really, when you backtrack it. I know it's because people get so passionate about these characters, but also it's a huge pressure on these actors when they're getting like potential like
hates
and death threats.
It's the same for love as well for them, isn't it? I mean, because like if you remember, like say like Game of Thrones, you got Daenerys, who's played by what's her name?
Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark. Yeah. Why is my mind gone blank? Amelia Clark.
I'm pretty sure this is a one per episode thing now.
Yeah. It's like she got so much love and stuff for it, but like, oh, she's doing this portraying a character. People call her Khaleesi and everything. It's like, it's just one of her characters. You wouldn't go around calling her Sarah Connor, would you?
I don't know about love for characters, because I think that's passion in a good way. Because someone loves someone's portrayal of the character so much, and I think it's when, like, or if someone excessively like obsesses over someone, like if they don't go too far on the other end towards, like if someone got really passionate over Amelia Clark because of her portrayal, that's obviously a bit weird.
Yeah.
But the negative aspect, I think, is the more like dodgy one.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if it's obviously majority of it's just internet hate. It's people using the opportunity of a platform that they've got to send hateful messages and such like.
While being anonymous.
But it's also a massive mental pressure on the actor or actresses, because it's just like, if they want to get involved in certain projects, or if it's having an impact on how they're thinking, because, well, you never know, no one knows how they're going to react until it happens to them, but it's just like, how would you react if 1,000 people started sending you really disgusting messages, which a lot of them unfortunately have to deal with? It's a weird concept. I don't have anything for gaming, but you do, don't you?
Yeah, just two things. So the first one is that obviously Xbox, the Series X is going to be coming out, but it's been said by Phil Spencer, the boss of Xbox, that it is actually backwards compatible.
Okay. So what does that mean for people?
It basically means that games that were on previous platforms, such as the Xbox One, 360, can be played on the Series X. They've said that all Xbox One games can be, and there's a list of supported 360 games. But literally what they're doing, well, Phil Spencer said that what he does is he's got an Xbox Series X in his home. He'll get 360 games and put them in and try them and see if they work, and make a list of them.
It's good to be the boss, isn't it?
Just make a list of the games that he says to see if they work and see if maybe they can improve it to make them work.
Like, Phil, you know this one works. Hang on, give me another couple of hours with it. Just to be sure.
Just to be sure that it is working. Here's the next game.
You've been playing Halo for the last 20 hours.
Yeah.
I just need to make sure that this is...
Second thing was that the game that's been out for a year called Anthem.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I've not played it, but...
Was this the one that went through like production hell?
Yeah, and it's going through more, because they've said that it's going to be... BioWare have said that it's going to get a major rehaul of gameplay. Their literal words were they're working to reinvent the core gameplay loop with clear goals, motivating challenges, and progression with meaningful rewards. While it's been out for a year. Yeah. They said it'll still work while it's being played, but it will be getting updated. Yeah. So that's a far way into the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd heard about Anthem a bit because of the production stuff that happened, because they had like a lot of people coming in and out, creative differences, production hell, and then they had to meet it, and it was an unfinished game, obviously, because they're now recalling it, but it was just an absolute mess that I heard. Anything else news?
Nope, that's all that's...
Oh, I did actually have one more thing. There's a manga series, which is Japanese comics, called Death Note, which is a series about 15 years ago now. It came out in 2005, or the manga series that came out earlier than that. The anime series came out in 2005, which was about a teenager who gets a book, which if you write someone's name, it kills them, and he starts doing that to murderers and for justice and such like. And it's a very good detective cat and mouse series, but that finished, like I say, over 10 years ago now, and the mangaka, the guy who makes the manga artist, he brought out a one-shot sequel, which is a 70-page little comic of a sequel of what happened after it. And I found it really good. One interesting thing was Donald Trump was in it as part of the plot. And the hilarious thing was, because of that, Death Note and characters from the series started trending on Twitter in the politics section.
Oh God!
Which was amazing. I just found it hilarious. But yeah, that was just a funny thing that I saw this week. So main stuff, or the main point of main episode, whatever I'm saying. Horizon Zero Dawn. So, going to give a brief overview. I did a little bit at the start, but this is set in a post-apocalyptic world where there are various machines running the world, and your character in the game is this woman called Aloy, who is an outcast from the tribes that now live in this post-apocalyptic world. So I'm going to go through the story a little bit, but we are going to dash back and throw, because this isn't really a walkthrough of the game. No. It's more so us just talking about it and what we enjoyed, and just have a bit of a natter on it. So if you've not played it, I would recommend it, because we are going to be spoiling stuff and just nattering as we go along. Mm-hmm. So let me know if you want to dash off anywhere, Ryan. Yep. But so starting off with the game, you're introduced to the characters of Aloy and Rost. So Rost is like her surrogate father. Yeah. He's raising her, and they're outcasts from the main tribe, which is this Nora tribe, who's a very, don't even say religious, or like they believe in this.
They're a very spiritual and superstitious kind of tribe, which live in the in the mountains, really. Where's
it's like Mother Earth, isn't it?
It's Mother.
That's the mountain.
Yeah, next to Mother Earth, but what's their lands called?
I've not written it down.
Yeah, neither have I.
But they call it the sacred lands, don't they?
Yeah, the sacred lands and stuff.
Of which they believe, like I say, the superstitious. They believe they're called the Nora tribe, and they believe if any of them leave these secret lands, they will then be banished, and if they return, they will be killed. But they believe it so much that they won't leave it. Yeah. Because, but Aloy and Rost, they are outcasts, neither of which you know the reason why. Mm-hmm. You find out a little later it's for Aloy, she was found on a pedestal in the Mother Earth, the mountain, in front of this big metallic door, of which they believe the three matriarchs who run the tribe believe that she's been given by their goddess. But two of the matriarchs are not a fan of her because they think she's a curse to come upon them, and one of them thinks she's a blessing that's been given to them by Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. So she's outcasted because of that, but you don't know where she's come from, and Rost, you don't know why he's been outcasted. So that's a mystery that goes through the entire the entire game, basically, and you're trying to discover who Aloy is, what the story of it is, really. Yeah. So skipping over a few bits at the start, but Aloy gets access to a little device that she puts on her head called a focus, which is, how do you describe it?
It's kind of like a very futuristic Bluetooth.
Yeah.
A very futuristic one. So it's able to see through walls. You're able to communicate with people that are far, far away. Yeah. It's a nice little gadget.
Enables her to scan these machines that are patrolling around. And these machines, they are like various animals. Mm-hmm. So like there are some watcher machines, there are some machines that look like deer.
You should probably say that with the post-apocalyptic world that they are machines just living with humans, coexisting.
It's like if you imagine like a tribal, prehistoric spears, arrows, that kind of thing. Yeah. But then you have machines. You have like the Boston Dynamic. They're the ones making those machines. Like if you can imagine like dogs and such like that they've created, it's like they're living in that prehistoric time. Yeah. So that setting of it. So she finds that focus, which enables her to scan these machines and enables her different abilities, like to use it. So go a bit onto the combat system of it. Was so during the whole of it, you're using a spear, arrows, and various gadgets, so to speak.
Yeah.
So those include like a trip caster, which is like a tripwire.
Yeah.
Using various techniques. So one's explosives, freezing, fire.
Yeah.
Do you want to go a bit in?
Yeah, so it's basically each machine, once you scan it, you find its weaknesses. And these specific gadgets can be used to obviously trap and hunt these machines, because over the course of the game, you can upgrade your weapons or get certain items from these machines that can help further improve you. Yeah. So you need to hunt them in a way like you would hunt an animal.
Yeah.
And specific animals, specific machines have their own weaknesses. Like some of them are really susceptible to fire. Yeah. So you'd use like the trip casters on them for fire. Or there's the other gadget which is called the rope caster, which can basically pin the machine down onto the ground, which works well for either for machines that have like weak spots underneath them, so that you can hit them. Because when you hit these weak spots, obviously like these parts can fall off or explode or do anything really. I mean, a good part of the game that I like is how a lot of these machines that have like weapons on them, you can actually shoot the weapons off and pick them up and use them, which is such a handy way. I mean, because like
to do the bigger enemies,
to do the massive enemies like the
Thunderjaw,
Thunderjaw, which is like it's basically like a massive T-Rex. Yeah, it's huge.
It's like a big metallic tiger, but like massive.
It's just mad how big it actually is. That's the part I like about the game as well, is the scale between you and the machines, because like there's some that are about the same size as you, but then you've got others like the Thunderjaw or the Rock Breaker. Yeah, is it that? Yeah. It's basically like a massive earthworm. Yeah, that goes underground and stuff. It's like they're massive, and you're trying to fight it.
I mean, I really liked the ones that stayed animalistic, because near the end there's like these the Deathbringers, which are just like big missile shooting machines, and they are machines. Like I really liked the look of all the animalistic machines that go around, like the Thunderjaws, the Watchers, all the animalistic ones.
But you've got to think the Deathbringers weren't made to be animalistic. They were made by, like, our civilization is the ones that died. Yeah. And to the tribes, we're called the Old Ones. Yeah.
So this, but a bit of context. So this post-apocalyptic world is set about 1,000 years after this time, like the time we're in now. Probably a bit further, obviously, because of technology differences, but around this time. Yeah. Carry on.
And so we're seen as the Old Ones. Yeah. I mean, like in some parts of the actual world that you can travel into, it's ruined cities. Yeah. And
using the focus, you can see visions of various places around, such as how where stadiums were and news articles and such, right?
And like academies and stuff like that. It's quite good to see, really, like that. But it's like basically what happened was that AI was created by us and machines to fight wars, and it basically we lost control. They started to fight back.
There was a glitch in the machine system, which then started them being able to consume biomass, which means plants, humans, animals, everything really, in order to replicate themselves. And because of this glitch, they also were not in reign, like we weren't in control of them, which then led to them just consuming everything, and like just bringing on the end of the world, basically.
Pretty much, like fighting us and everything. Yeah. Go on.
So I just wanted to go back to talk a little bit about the combat there, but one thing that I wish they changed, or at least wish there was an option, and there might be an option when I say this, and I've not just seen and had to deal with it for thing, but the focus sound when you use it, when it comes,
so annoying.
It is, and it comes out the controller as well. So there's nothing you can do, at least not that I know of. If there is a way, I so wish that I'd found out. But when you use the focus, which is almost every well, you use it every second or so, it makes a sound out of thing, and the sounds really good. It's a really good sound for it. It's a very futuristic sound, but it comes out the controller, and it's when you use it so much, it's just I wish there was like a mute button to it.
You hear it all the time.
Yeah,
and it's like if you've pressed off it to turn it off, and you're like, I need to go back into it again. Oh, sound again.
But it's like it's the main part of the gameplay. Like you have to use it for everything, and you have to hear it every time. So I just wish that there was a way to mute it, because it's not. It's on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It would have been.
I know I'm using it. I don't need to hear this sound every time that I turn it on.
Yeah. But this it's an open world setting, so there's this quite sizable map that you explore. You obviously go through it progressionally at first, until like probably about a third of the game through, and then the big side of the map is opened up, and you can explore pretty much everything, apart from a little bit, which is the DLC, but that's only if you have the DLC. And I'm pretty sure you could go there anyway if you so wanted, but I think you just get crushed immediately.
Yeah.
But this brings on the point, like, open world settings, like we've talked about this a lot, that we enjoy them. And one thing that I like that it does is, at the start of it at least, it's progressional. You can still explore the area you're in, but you are literally travelling to and fro.
Yeah.
It's only until you get to about halfway through the game that you're able to purchase unlimited fast travel.
Yeah.
Which I think some people will be annoyed about it, but I like that aspect, because you are actually forced in a good way to explore the world first and stick with the story, and then it's afterwards when you've got a little bit more freedom to go, okay, I want to go quest happy now and go and see a lot of stuff.
Funnily enough, it took me a while to realise that unlimited fast travel, because obviously I stopped playing before I finished it, and then I came back to it and I started playing it properly again, and I found all this new stuff to do and all that, and then I was just buying something else and I saw unlimited fast travel. I was like, what? I've nearly finished the game.
Oh, did you leave it quite a bit?
I left it a while. I did not know. I did not have a clue. And then I saw it at the bottom and I was like, it's quite cheap, that.
It is. I mean, in fairness, I only noticed it because of buying it, so it is a bit by luck, unless you...
Oh, God, it was annoying. Because I was like, I need this many fast travel packs and everything. I think I was going buying another one because I had nothing. And then I saw underneath it unlimited ones and I was like, what? I needed this so much.
God, I would have loved it if you'd been just buying normal ones all the time, whilst that had been like one little thing down.
Yeah, that would have annoyed me.
The levelling system's interesting because it works differently than a lot of games. It's not a stat builder.
Yeah.
It's a skill tree, so as you level up you can unlock various combat forms or passive skills or various things that'll help you. But it doesn't improve your attack power. No. It doesn't improve speed or anything like that. So it sort of makes it so that it doesn't help you in the missions. Apart from your health, it does increase your health.
Every 10 points, I think it is.
Not a huge amount.
No.
It's... The whole game sort of centres around... Obviously, you can buy better weapons as you level up, but a lot of it's around being smart about fighting the machines, learning how to beat them, learning what's the best weapons to use with them. Yeah. It's not about levelling up 10 times and being able to overpower them.
No, you still can't do that.
You're never overpowered. Like, you can't be. It's not in the system to be overpowered for these machines. You have to know what to do and be skilled enough in playing it to be able to beat them.
Oh, that's it. I mean, like, you still... Every time I go against a Thunderjaw now, I've still got to think about how can I properly fight this thing and work it well. I mean, like, did you do any of the... because there's obviously side quests and stuff to do as well. Did you ever do any of the hunting lodge stuff?
I did a little bit. I didn't do all of them. I did a couple of them.
There was one in the desert which was very hard.
I definitely didn't do a desert one.
It was involving Thunderjaw and I can't remember what they were called, but they were a bit...
Stalkers?
They might have been No, it wasn't Stalkers. Stalkers was a different one.
What did they look like?
Kind of like lion looking. They did have a gun on the back of them that you could shoot off and use. I can't remember what they were called.
Karen.
But basically, one of the actual hunting things was you've got to take over two. You've got to corrupt two of these machines and use them to kill the Thunderjaw in, I think it was 80 seconds. 90 seconds.
Speedy.
It was hard. I did it first go because basically it was like corrupted them quick.
Yeah.
Shot off the disc launcher which the Thunderjaw had. Used that against it, and that was it. Done.
Good way to do it.
But it's stuff like that. It's knowing what weapons that you can shoot off. What weapons are the weaknesses of these machines, so that you can kill them quick.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about, like, she's, I think, from the games I've played, I think she's one of the best female main characters that I've played as. Witty, smart, knows what she's doing.
Doesn't take any crap.
Yeah, I think she was one of the best, like I say, best main characters I've played at. I don't know if you've...
She was very, very good. She is one of my favourite characters I've played.
One thing I didn't, like... I know she's doing a lot, but it's after she's 18 now, I think she's meant to be. Everyone, and I know she wins the proving as well, but everyone immediately forgets that she was an outcast for 12 years.
Yep.
Almost immediately. I know the matriarchs don't, or two of them don't, but that's like story-centred, what you would... And the other tribes I can understand as well.
Because they knew nothing about it.
But everyone else is just like... She's helping out now.
Yep.
And I can understand it to a degree, but it seems to have like glossed over immediately.
Well, maybe it seems like obviously she was annoyed about it, and you get that through the story that she talks about it, and nobody else does. But it might be the case of as well that they don't actually know her, and it's the fact of when someone's banished, obviously they don't have anything to do with them, they don't look at them, they don't talk to them.
Yeah.
But if suddenly you've been told, right, they're now in the tribe, you've got to kind of open your arms to them, haven't you?
Yeah. It's...
Otherwise, you just have a very passive-aggressive life. Like, oh yeah, for the last 12 years, you have ignored me, and now you're talking to me like a friend.
Yeah.
If you were doing that for years and years and years, they'd get annoyed with you.
So, the main villain is the AI system Hades, but I'd say the other main antagonist is Hellas, or Helis.
Do you want to explain what Hades is?
Good point. So, let's go backwards a bit.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about what happened to the world, like the machines able to consume biomass and the world. So, what a group of people did, was the Pharaoh Institute, I think it was. They were the ones who created the machines. Them and a professor called Dr. Elizabeth Sorbeck. They and some alphas, who was a team of programmers, machinists, scientists, put together a project called Horizon Zero Dawn. Or Zero Dawn.
Project Zero
Dawn. Project Zero Dawn, which was told to the public that they were all going to all the civilians were going to give them guns and various weaponry, and they were going to go, and it was going to be an operation called Operation Enduring Victory, which is where civilization was going to be basically rise up against the machines, and Zero Dawn was this weapon system that was going to target all the machines or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was told to the public. What Zero Dawn was actually was this terraforming system where they created this AI called Gaia, which it and other AI it created, all named after various Greek gods. So Hades, Hephaestus, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, etc. That the role of the Zero Dawn was this AI Gaia was that human civilization was doomed. They were all going to die. But what they could do was after civilization died, Gaia could from the Pharaoh and the scientists storing embryos and civilization and storing copies of all humankind's information, so they could be educated, repopulate the planet again after the again, basically.
Yeah, again, after it all happens.
So that was the plan. So what happened what was bad was, firstly, the guy in charge of the Farrow Institute was a guy called Ted Farrow, I think it was. Mm-hmm. He was the one created, or his company created the machines. He decided, okay, I've doomed the world, and this new world that's going to be created, I think they should just live without all this that we've done.
Yeah.
So
he had a bit of a nihilistic approach
perspective. So nihilistic is basically when you believe everything's worth nothing, nothing's got any point or purpose. So what he did was he damaged or deleted all the files off the Apollo system, which was the system meant to educate the new children once they were born into this new world. So that's why the tribes in the story are so ill-educated. They believe in superstition, they believe in all this, because all the information of the modern day has been deleted by this guy. As well as he also kills all the scientists, apart from Professor Sorbeck, to stop them interfering. So he probably
did it.
Does a number. Professor Sorbeck, who at that point had actually sort of sacrificed herself to keep them safe, and she'd exited the building and went off to die somewhere, which is a bit sad because she's one of the most interesting characters in it. What am I missing?
Well, Hades. Actually, Hades is one of the AI subsystems that was made by Gaia.
Yeah.
So basically, obviously, with Gaia being a terraforming platform and being so intelligent as to know what to do with the next to make the human race and thrive, if it ever thought that it wasn't going the way it should be, Hades would have been unleashed, which was basically a measure to extinguish it all and start it again.
So that's like kill the newly made human civilization and have another go at it.
And try again. And basically, there was another glitch, and something basically activated Hades when it shouldn't have done.
Oh, a signal was emitted that caused Hades to have second thoughts, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And Hades got so bad that Gaia actually couldn't stop it. Yeah. And so Gaia actually sacrificed itself to save the humans.
Which, by that, it initiated an explosion sequence meant to destroy both its own computer systems and those of Hades as well.
So, in effect, that was that part, like, Gaia's gone, the terraforming part's gone, this is all you've got now. But actually, Gaia, just before Gaia was destroyed, Gaia actually made a clone of Dr. Elizabeth Sobeck, which is Aloy.
Yes.
Which is why she was found on that by the metallic door. Yeah. Because Mother Earth is actually where the clones were made for humans. So it was basically Gaia wanted to make a clone of Sobeck's in the hope that she could destroy Hades once and for all and restore Gaia's systems.
Yeah. Before we go into some of the characters, let's go into a few of the characters then. So one of the ones just mentioned at the start was Rost, who is the surrogate father. So at the start of the story, or relatively near the start of the story, he sacrifices himself to save Aloy. Aloy. And you don't find out why he's been an outcast until right near the end. So do you want to have a go at it, or
you can do that one?
Okay, fair enough. So Rost became, and this I was a bit disappointed in this because this was something I was interested in throughout the whole game, and I thought was going to have some sort of effect on the story.
Yeah.
But was actually just a side bit of information that you could talk to on the matriarchs, like near the end of the story, and just get a bit of extra info for like story building, which I didn't really like because I thought it was going to be a bit more than that because they'd kept it secret for so long. But anyway, so Rost, he had a wife and a daughter, and at some point, some bandits captured various members of the Nora tribe, including his wife and his daughter. Well, his daughter was killed, and his wife was killed, and his daughter was killed in pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and various members of the Nora tribe, when he was part of the Nora tribe, went to track them down because the bandits had took hostages.
Yeah.
So what the bandits did was they passed out of the sacred lands, like the border, of which the Nora tribe, like the ones they were sent after, including Rost, didn't step over because it was banned by the tribe. So what the bandits did was they stepped a few steps over the line and slit the hostages' throats and dropped the bodies on the other side so that they couldn't collect them.
Mm-hmm.
So just pure cruelty, really.
A little bit.
So Rost went to the matriarchy and asked to be made into a Death Seeker, which meant that he would be dead in the eyes of the tribe, but that would mean he could also leave the tribe and pursue them to kill those bandits or mercenaries, but he was never to return again.
Yeah.
So he did that, did his job, but got injured in the process, came back, chose not to come into the lands because even when he's an outcast, he's devout to the teachings, and he collapses just outside the sacred lands to die. But some other members of the tribe find him and break the taboo to grab him and bring him over, which the matriarchies can't really allow. So they come to an agreement with him that he will stay as an outcast as long as he never talks about that. Which also gives reason to why a lot of the Braves, which are like the
fighting part of the Nora,
why they treat him respectfully during the start of the game. Like they nod to him, they don't talk, but like they let him go places and stuff like that. So that gives understanding for that. But it was interesting, but I did think it was going to be more like
a bit more substantial. I
thought it would just have story impact.
Yeah,
like interesting story and it makes sense. But I thought it would have something that would affect the story. I don't know. You have any difference or?
Well, sorry, I was interested by it. I mean, everything because I'd heard. Obviously going through the actual thing that the other tribe is called the Karja.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, a few years before, there'd been the person that was in charge of the Karja was the Sun King and the Mad Sun King, and he orchestrated the Red Raids, which is what obviously you were talking about with just like raiding into the Nora lands, taking people, killing them for sacrifice to the sun.
Yep.
So I guess it kind of like brings it full circle in that, as in like his wife and daughter were captured because of the Red Raids and killed like that. I mean, it does kind of bring it full circle.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like it's interesting. I know obviously you're saying.
Oh, I've got nothing against the story.
Yeah, you want it to be a bit more substantial, but to be fair, I don't think it really needs to be. Yeah,
the thing I did like the main niggle I have on it was it's something you could have missed.
Yeah,
like if you didn't talk to her again, like talk to one of the matriarchs again, you easily could have missed it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that bugs me. I found the story interesting. I liked it, but it's just
it annoyed you.
After so long, we were just like, I could have missed that. I could have sodded off and gone and done something else.
I could have just said no to that story thing.
I'll nip back to it. The villain of the piece, we talked about Hades, who's the main villain, even though it's an AI system. But the human antagonist is Helios.
Who is in charge of the eclipse?
Yeah, and like from the Shadow Karja, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's another tribe who are still followers of the old Sun King who committed these Red Raids. I thought he was a rubbish villain.
You don't see much of him, do you?
His only thing is killing Rost.
Yeah.
And then he's the face for the place, but he's a bit boring, really. And especially the boss fight, that was boring as anything.
Yeah, just run around
shooting barrels next to him.
Yep.
I thought it was a very disappointing villain and a very disappointing end fight. Don't know, you might disagree.
I thought the same. I was like, oh, these aren't hurting him. Oh, look at all these barrels next to him. Barrels blown.
A character I really liked, which I think I asked you about this, but I don't think you ran into him, was Niles.
No, I didn't run into him. No,
Yeah, because Niles is, and so he's a quite nihilistic character who goes around and helps Aloy during side quests to do with bandit camps. When you sit out bandit camps, and helps her kill them because he finds enjoyment in killing the bandits that he doesn't get with killing machines. So he's quite like psychopathic as well.
a little bit.
But he's one of the most interesting characters in the game, which is why I'm a bit sad that he didn't.
I know. Well, that was it. I mean, like, I never saw his quest part. I never saw where he was. And then I finished the last bandit camp, and then it popped up. I was like...
What did it come up? You have failed, or...
No, it didn't even come up with you have failed. It literally just became one of my quests.
Oh, what was the quest say then?
About speak to Niles.
Oh, right.
I was like, okay.
So did you do that quest then?
No. I haven't even spoke to him.
Yeah, that's really weird, because the bit when you do all the camps, you don't mind me spoiling this, do you?
No, go ahead.
I think, but so the thing of the stories is at each bandit camp that you have to take over and free, basically, because it's been taken over, is you with Niles you go and take out all these bandits, and you build this very weird relationship because he's a psychopath and it's
You're
a weird
not.
one. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But then at the end, in proper his fashion, because like there's a little bit of like romantic thing there, but in a very weird way. And then at the end, he's like, "So let's do this one more. We've had all our fun doing these bandit camps. So it's like let's just have one big hurrah at the end," and challenges you to a fight to the death.
Oh.
Which is his idea of a great final relationship thing, which you can choose to either do or do not. An interesting point, if you don't, he had to join you in the final fight as well.
Oh, that's alright then.
But he was one of the most interesting characters in it, which is why I'm a bit sad.
Did you choose? So you chose to say no?
I didn't know that he joined you. I did this after I finished the game.
Yep.
But I killed him the first time, and then I reset it, and then I didn't kill him to see what the other option would be, and just to see both parts of it. But yeah, interesting character. Any of the other characters you want to talk about?
I can't remember his name now because I didn't write him down. What's his name? That's always bloody pestering Aloy.
Silence.
He's an interesting one.
Yes.
He's very. You still don't see much of him.
So Silence is the one who, after Gaia blew herself up with Hades and all the machinery, Hades managed to flee to a machine of which he was basically trapped in.
Yep.
He couldn't do anything. Silence was the one who found him, and in exchange for knowledge, because he's obsessed with knowing more, in exchange for knowledge from Hades, he would release him and do various things for him, like build this Eclipse. He was the one who founded this rebel group, this Eclipse group. Excuse me. So you don't find that out to the end of the game.
No.
But throughout the whole game, you always think something's off with him because he's basically stalking Aloy to find out what she's doing, what she's discovering. And then it's only like halfway through that he starts helping her, still with not telling her really much about himself.
He says nothing. He's very mysterious when it comes to Aloy and actually about his past. He's literally saying nothing about it, but he knows a lot.
Yeah, so he's a big researcher into the old ones who, like us, 1,000 years ago. So he's very interested in finding out and tries to help her. Not in the way of trying to help her, but trying to help her to further his own agenda of discovering more about Zero Dawn, to find out more about the old ones, find out more about Gaia, everything really. But yeah, he is a very interesting character.
Well, that was it. He was like, he was teaching me astrophysics and trigonometry and all that.
He's just obsessed.
Yeah.
And eventually Hades betrays him because he no longer needs him because Hades is a machine. Yeah. It's logical. Like the Silence done his job. Don't need him anymore. Carry on.
Get him killed. But then it's like after you finish the game, there's an after credits scene.
I want to come on to this in a sec to do with sequel stuff. One thing with Silent though, because you've not finished the Frozen Wilds. There's DLC called Frozen Wilds. You find out a bit more about islands in that.
Okay.
Just to go backwards 2 steps. Rost, we said he dies, sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't know was you can visit his grave. I know you can visit his grave, but you can have interactions talking about various characters you've met during the journey. That's what it's like. I thought it was really sad because someone, when I was reading through and doing some research for this, a really sad point someone made was, in a way, it keeps his word, because when you part with Rost, when you go to do the proving, he says, you can only come back to talk to me as long as I don't say anything. And they were saying it's a very grim irony, a very sad thought. That he kept his word in a very sad way.
In a really sad way. Did you never go back to his grave then?
No, I did go back to his grave, but only once. I didn't know it was a several aspect thing. You could go back after different characters.
I think it was after different characters in every main. I don't know if it was every main quest. Something different could happen, and you could go and speak. Yeah,
I only went back once or twice, I think. And the first time was only to see if they actually did something there.
Yeah. Just to see if he had a grave.
Yeah. Teersa, the only good matriarch, the one who looks after Aloy. I really liked her character. Yeah. I thought she was really funny. She put up with nothing really.
I know.
She's like that old grandma stereotype who just doesn't give 2 S's for anything. Yeah. She's not bothered about anything, and she's just blunt as anything. I just found her a very funny character.
Whereas the other 2 were a bit more into the religion and you're a heathen and everything. It's like, okay, sure I am.
Yeah, she was annoying, the other one. But I really liked her character. And then the only one that I can remember that I enjoyed was Erend, which was the love interest, romantic interest for Aloy, the guy with the beard, with the hammer. So it's I enjoyed his character. I thought he was a good character. He was the only one that I really enjoyed. Any other thing from characters or anything like that?
No, the rest were all relatively. Most of them were quite bland, weren't they?
I enjoyed the chief from the Nora, but nothing excessively.
I liked the one. I can't remember her name now. Not done good with these characters at all. Because I don't think you said you've not done the Hunter's Lodge, have you?
Not all of them, no.
No. So the woman that becomes your hawk.
Okay.
She's quite an interesting character, as a hunter and everything. But a thing of I don't think obviously you've not done it is that when you do quests, you can unlock quite a few optional characters to join you in the last fight. Yeah. And a few of those characters, I reckon you would probably enjoy. I cannot remember for the life of me some of the names at all.
I brought most of them. The only ones I didn't bring was the Hunting Lodge, actually. Yeah. The only ones that I didn't bring was the Hunting Lodge.
She's an interesting character.
Everyone else I did bring because I got the achievement for it. Yeah.
Did you get the achievement for it?
Yeah.
Alright. So I did the Hunter's Lodge for nothing then?
Possibly.
Because she's one of the... Well, that was what when I was reading, what characters I need there. She was one of them.
That me misremembering then?
Yeah.
Possibly. But they had Niles. I don't know. Maybe if it gives you one option out.
Niles wasn't.
Was he not?
Niles was not one of them.
I don't know.
Otherwise I would have done the quest for it. That's why I was going for the Platinum.
I want to talk about Platinum in a sec, actually, but the only thing I'd left... Was there anything story-based that you wanted to go over, or...?
Nope.
Because the other thing I wanted to talk about was remaining for sequel ideas, because it's almost certainly having a sequel. I'm pretty sure it's not been announced, but there's been,
there's been talks.
Job postings in relation to stuff that you just, you put A to B together, and it's probably going to be that. But stuff like... One, do you want to carry on with what you were saying about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, so basically in the post-credit scene, Aloy actually goes to... Because if you remember back to Dr. Sobert actually leaving the facility to... Basically what happened was one of the vents opened by 10 inches instead of it being 1. And so she had to go out and manually close it, but because of that she couldn't get back in. So she said, it's okay, I'll sacrifice myself for this, this is fine. So she said, I'm going to go home. So she literally went home.
Yeah.
And Aloy, in the post-credit scenes, travels to this home and, using a focus, scans this body that she finds on a bench in a suit, and finds that is Dr. Elizabeth Sobeck inside it, which is quite a nice one, isn't it? It must bring some emotions for her there, mustn't it?
And she was like her mother, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
The last bit of focus, like where you get information from her, was her talking about wanting a daughter.
Yeah.
Which is Aloy.
Pretty much, yeah. And then the other thing is that when you actually destroy Hades, Hades is like form.
Yeah.
Like red form, like shoots
like
into the sky.
It's like a black tendril
Yeah.
that like goes through the sky.
It just shoots through the sky and goes. But as Aloy's looking at like the body of Sobeck, you see it going across the sky, don't you?
Yeah.
And then it travels and travels, and then it gets caught in something which is being held by silence.
It's like a machine, like a mechanic lantern into that Hades gets drawn into and captured into, of which he goes, well, we have more to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
And then he also walks up to what's known as a metal devil. So I'd say like the biggest thing you combat in Horizon Zero Dawn is what's this? It's like a small building. I don't know, like size comparison. The Deathbringer. What's a good size comparison?
Deathbringer's not that big. It's probably the size of a house.
Yeah. So that's quite big, a little bit.
Maybe a bit
bigger.
Wider.
Yeah.
Definitely wider.
Definitely wider than a house. Around that size, that's what you fight as the final boss in the main story, at least. Yeah. And then the Metal Devil, which has been... I can't remember too much about it, to be honest. But it's shown to be this massive skyscraper. Like, lengthwise, it's skyscraper length, and it's massive, and he walks up to it, so... And you never fight, well, I don't know how you'd fight it, or you never...
That'd be a strange one to fight, wouldn't it?
Interact with it at all, other than climb over it during the final part of the game. But he walks up to that, leading to the idea that Metal Devil's going to be part of a sequel game, because that's what he's approaching, which I think they would have to do, really. Because
can't just have it dead again.
Yeah. But that's something, Hades obviously being back, I wouldn't want it to be that villain. I think the sequel will be whoever emitted the signal. That started it all off with Hades, and final bit will be probably the Metal Devil being awakened, probably because of Silence messing about.
Silence doing something. And
then the only thing I'd want to potentially would be the Mad King, like the old Sun King. I know he's dead, quotation marks, but you never know until they come up with a new idea, do you? Because it's put that his son killed him to stop it all, but you never know. Bit of lies.
What, maybe do like a prequel type thing?
No, I think he could just be alive still.
Okay.
But I don't know. That was just an idea I had, like, of what they could have going forward. Any sequel stuff or anything they left open that you think?
Not really. I mean, like, it was quite mostly a cut and dry type of thing, wasn't it? Besides the silence part, it was like, oh, Hades is destroyed now.
Yeah.
Aloy's gone to see Sobeck's house and everything. The world is restored. There's not, otherwise, there's not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of restored Gaia, maybe. I don't know how much you could do with that.
Well, Gaia doesn't exist anymore, does she?
No.
She's in that final bit of recording when she finally finishes everything, but as an entity, she's gone.
Yeah. So there's not much you can do with that, really, is there?
There's definitely going to be a sequel, so we'll just see as it goes forward. That's everything story-wise. I just want to go in like topics around it. First one was, have you platinumed it yet?
No.
Very,
very close. There is one more skill I need to learn.
So this will help you then, is if you, like an Easter egg, well not an Easter egg, but a little bonus for platinum it is, if you have promotional emails on for your system or something, like when you platinum it, it'll send you an email or send you a thing where you can put your which is a Horizon Zero Dawn background.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know when you go on your PS4 and
Yeah.
it shows you various applications,
Mm-hmm.
it'll give you a Horizon Zero Dawn background for all that
Oh,
when you platinum it. So
I best do it soon then, haven't I?
I've a ganned on how to make sure you get that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can guess it twice, because when you platinumed it.
Yeah.
So another interesting thing was the rate at which nature will take over, because I've looked into this before, because they talk to like nature people,
Nature people.
like scientists who know how it goes down, to make sure it's authentic on how stuff would have grown, how stuff would have gone on. And I listened to a thing a while ago. This wasn't in relation to research for this, but they were saying if like sewer systems stopped, or if everyone left New York for like a week or so, the amount of stuff that would grow and the rate at which it would grow would exceed the way we'd be able to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wouldn't take long at all for like nature to overtake a lot of stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
Like,
be interesting then, wouldn't it, to see?
Apparently, like, if we left anything for any length of time, like nature would just take over like pretty quickly. And the only way we do it now is because everything's like automated and we have to check it so often.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point of stuff going to hell. Here's one. How do you think the world will end?
Ooh. Well, there are so many ways for us to end. At the moment, the most likely is probably us killing each other.
Yeah, like nuclear winter
wave. Yeah, either that or the second most likely is we run out of resources, and because of greed and everything, we haven't sorted out a solution to that, and so we die.
I mean, I think that goes together really, because I think obviously population issue is
massive.
I think that's the biggest one we'll have to deal with in our lives. But I think that'll also lead into some sort of war aspect.
Yeah.
Because obviously it'll be a fight over resources, so I think those two are like linked together.
Yeah.
Some interesting ones are like if a superbug develops.
Yeah.
Like with a superbug's basically one that's immune to previous antibiotics or anything like that. So that's another option. I don't think anyone really believes that we're going to last until like the earth runs out or anything.
No.
Like that. I think we're going to something's going to happen that's going to wreck everything. Low options like meteorites or anything like that. Or
I mean, they're small ones anyway.
Yeah,
they don't happen that often. But by the time the Earth's gone anyway, which is in 3 billion years, we'll have evolved way past that anyway.
Potentially. I don't know. I think we're sort of stagnant in evolution now.
You can't really be stagnant. Evolution's always happening.
Sort of, but we're not adapting to anything. Like, because we're creating things we're not biologically adapting, we're creating things to adapt to situations.
Yeah.
As beings, we're not really adapting. We've not got that need or constant pressure or anything like that. So I don't think we're evolving anymore. I think mentally we're evolving, and technologically we're evolving, but as creatures, I think we're stagnant. I think we're not going to go anywhere, and I don't think we're going to go any further.
Well, maybe we could, due to the pressure that we have when it comes to our technological advances, it could be along the lines of that.
Augmenting, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a point. Like people, chips in the head or anything like that. I think that's going to be something. I mean, we do it now anyway, don't we? We do pacemakers, we do... I know that's medical procedures, but technically it's augmenting someone, isn't it? It's putting something mechanical to facilitate living.
Yeah.
And I think the way a lot of people think augmenting is like putting a mechanical arm so you can lift a car or something like that, but simple stuff, isn't it? Like just wait until there's a chip that you can call someone. Google Glass, I mean, I know that didn't do very well, but that was still such of a touch of your glasses, keeping focus of your eye contact. So I think technology's coming.
Oh yeah,
well, it's here already, but that sort of sci-fi stuff is closer approaching as well.
It'll be here soon, won't it? Yeah.
How much of a danger do you think AI actually is?
I think it can be if left unchecked. You need, at the end of it, like most of our world now is automated.
Yeah.
But you need at the end of it a human in charge to make sure it goes okay. A computer can only do so much.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, anything that is man-made will break. There is always the likely chance of something breaking.
Yeah.
So really, you need to be able to make sure that everything that is automated can be checked, can be controlled by a living person.
Yeah. I've read a little bit into this because I find it an interesting topic. Is the biggest reason why nothing has happened or is currently foreseeable happening is because of the logic restrictions on machines.
Yeah.
It's like people say, oh, a machine can beat a chess master in learning chess in 10 minutes or whatever. That's a very exaggerated example because that doesn't exist. They have to put a lot of time and programming into it. But those are all done, those examples are all done under very controlled restrictions.
Yep.
Like a game which has rules, which has limits, which has restrictions on it. And there isn't an AI system that can deal with open world, which is why stuff like machine learning is probably the worrying part, but it's also that's always built under restrictions. It's machine learning within a process, within a parameter, and obviously you don't know what's happening behind closed doors, but there's nothing been made that can deal with any situation. So I think the possibility of AI as we imagine, like Skynet or anything like that, is not yet. But I think we all know if something like that happened, we'd be done immediately.
Easily.
I would love it if like an AI was created and like just took the mick of it. I know it's a machine, but like going, oh, I've seen all these Terminators, I know what to do now.
This will be easy.
Yeah, AI is an interesting one, and it'd be sort of ironic if we sort of did ourselves in by doing all that.
And calling it Skynet at the same time.
Oh, of course. Someone did. An AI company actually did call their technology Skynet, which I thought was hilarious. That was about a year ago. Then the other thing, which is a bit of a lighter topic, but how do you play open world games?
It's kind of different. I mean, I like to just roam and just see what's about. I like to explore the world, but I also, depending on what I'm feeling at that point, do I just fast travel and just do all the quests, get them out of the way?
Yeah.
Do I go on to side quests? It depends on the day, but generally I like to just roam. Yeah. I did it especially with Skyrim, where it was like, oh, I've got this quest to do. I won't fast travel there. I will walk the whole way, see what comes along the way. What comes up along the way, the fights. Do I find any quests? Do I find something to explore? Stuff like that. Yeah. So sometimes it can take me a while to do an open world game. So, what about you?
I've only played a couple, but like The Witcher 3, I did something similar. I really enjoyed all the side quests, and I didn't really find it an issue going and doing the quests, doing the contracts. Yeah. Because in Witcher 3 you have main quests, side quests, and contracts. Yeah. Contracts you do because you can see a lot more of the creatures they made, and side quests is because of the stories they put in on top of the main story. So I really didn't mind doing a lot of that. With Horizon Zero Dawn, I was doing it the same way until about halfway, and then we've brushed through a lot of the story very quickly, but during the actual gameplay of it, it's a very gradual process. You pick stuff up every now and again, and it's split in between periods of combat and something like. And I just lost interest in the combat. I just was more interested in the story, so I sort of halfway, and then I just started just doing story mode, which made me a bit underleveled for some bits of it. Yeah, but that's the way I played Horizon Zero Dawn at the end of it, just because I was more interested in the story than the actual gameplay of it. Yeah, good.
I didn't do loads in Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't do loads of like side quests and stuff. I did the quests that I needed to. Yeah. And especially like for the platinum ones, did all them. But they were interesting when I did them.
Yeah.
And then obviously actually trying to kill, because one of the platinum trophies is you've got to kill every single type of creature.
Yeah.
So it's basically roaming, trying to find those creatures and trying to get yourself powered up enough to be able to kill them.
Yeah.
Because like the rock breakers are hard to kill. Thunderjaws massively hard to kill, and Stormbirds.
Oh yeah.
Stormbirds are hard.
They're annoying buggers.
They're ridiculous. Like just them, the big ones are ridiculously hard to kill. So you've got to be able to do it and be powered up enough.
Yeah.
Have the skills and the weapons to be able to, and it could be interesting.
Yeah. But it's good. Anything else?
Nope. I think we've
done it. All right then.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed, let us know. We are at social media at _ What's On Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at What's On Podcast. And if you enjoyed, leave us a review, and it helps us a lot. Thank you very much.
Cheers.